All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So I wanted to talk about the AFC quarterbacks today because I was thinking of making either a quarterbacks ranking list or some sort of tier list, but I said, nah, I don't want to do that. Let's mix it up. Let's try to have some fun. So instead of a tiers list or a rankings list, I decided I'm going to put the quarterbacks head-to-head against each other, tournament style, and ultimately have a discussion about who deserves to be the guy at the top in the AFC. We've got 16 starting quarterbacks, and I got my nifty little bucket here with all the names of the starting quarterbacks in the AFC, or at least the guys that are going to be the starters, or most likely projected to be the starters for their respective teams in the AFC. We're going to pick randomly, and we're going to have each of these quarterbacks go head-to-head. We're going to have a nice little bracket with all the quarterbacks' names, and whichever quarterback advances, we'll show their advancement into the next round, and we'll keep on going until ultimately we have one quarterback left, and that quarterback will reign supreme in that conference. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. Lucky bucket here. Let's see who's going to be the first one. All right. So our first name here is going to be Zach Wilson. So we will have Zach Wilson taking on who in the first round? Zach Wilson will be taking on Mac Jones. That is an interesting conversation. Ooh, I really like that. Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. Very interesting. I actually feel like we can have a discussion about that. Because a lot of people look at, Zach Wilson and they see a talented guy, but he's not exactly, he still has a lot of work to do, but he's not in the best of situations. Meanwhile, Mac Jones is in a really good situation in New England, but a lot of people don't see a high ceiling with him. So Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, that is the perfect way to start off our tournament right there. All right, next up we've got, who is this? Mitchell Trubisky. He's expected to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see how that lasts. As of now, he is that guy projected to be the starter. Mitchell Trubisky will be going up against, who is this? Matt Ryan. Okay, there's a conversation that can be made there. Next up, we've got, let me see, check this out for a second. Don't even know what that was. So we've got Mitchell Trubisky taking on Matt Ryan here. All right, the third matchup is going to be, who is this? Trevor Lawrence. So we got Trevor Lawrence of the Jaguars. And Lawrence will be taking on who? Okay, we already know how that conversation is going to go. Patrick Mahomes. Okay, that's, well, okay. Lawrence starting off really rough. Can't wait to get into that one, huh? Really gonna be tough to make a choice with those two. Next up, we have Davis Mills, who looks like he's going to be the quarterback of the Texans this year. We'll see how that goes. Davis Mills taking on Tua. Okay, Davis Mills and Tua going at it here in the first round. Next up, we've got Ryan Tannehill, who right now is still the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. And he will be taking on Joe Burrow. Oh, wow. That is actually a tough one. Joe Burrow. Okay, I only got a couple names left. Tannehill versus Burrow. Okay, which one is this? Let's see. Oh, I got two names here. Oh, never mind. Let me remix that. I had three names. All right. We have Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson will be going up against, this is an interesting one. This might be my favorite conversation here. Lamar Jackson. Russell Wilson versus Lamar Jackson in the first round. That one's going to be controversial, huh? Can't wait to discuss that one. I just knew somehow, some way that was going to happen. Next up, we have Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert will be debating, or will be going up against Josh Allen. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is getting really tough. Already in the first round. And of course, we only have two more left. And the final two will be Deshaun Watson and Derek Carr. All right, so first round matchup started off very tame and got very, very progressively worse as it went on. This is going to be fun. Cannot wait to see how this goes down. All right, so here is our official bracket for this tournament. We'll have Zach Wilson taking on Mac Jones. Then we'll have Mitchell Trubisky taking on Matt Ryan, followed by Trevor Lawrence taking on Patrick Mahomes. Next up, we've got Davis Mills taking on Tua Tagovailoa. Then we have Ryan Tannehill versus Joe Burrow. That spicy matchup between Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson. We got Justin Herbert going up against Josh Allen. And to finish things off, we have Deshaun Watson taking on Derek Carr. This is going to be a very, very tough discussion. So, let's get started with the first one. All right, this is an interesting conversation here. Zach Wilson or Mac Jones in the first round. Zach Wilson playing for the New York Jets, Mac Jones playing for the New England Patriots. So this is actually an AFC East matchup. That's very interesting to start things off. Honestly, this one should be more of a discussion, but if you're basing it off of what they've been able to accomplish, Mac Jones probably takes the cake, specifically because he helped this team get to the playoffs. At the same time, Zach Wilson has a lot of talent, and he's on a team that isn't, he's with a franchise specifically that isn't exactly the best. Meanwhile, Mac Jones is literally with one of the best franchises in football. So it's tough to say. Mac Jones doesn't seem to have much of a high ceiling. Zach Wilson makes a lot of mistakes, but he showcases talents. He has moments where he flashes that potential. It's kind of similar to what you saw with Sam Darnold when he was there. So it's very difficult to call, but right now, I think you got to take Mac Jones just because he at least helped this team get to the playoffs. I can make an argument for Zach Wilson having a higher ceiling, but, you know, he's turned the ball over too much. He's still got a lot of things to fix. He's somewhat very raw. He's at least more, he needs more work than Mac Jones. I'll leave it like that. Mac Jones definitely does need work, but Mac Jones, despite the fact that he was limited, he was still able to make plays that helped this team, you know, get to the playoffs. And yes, he's with a better franchise, but Mac Jones right now, just based on what they've both been able to do so far and some of the things they've displayed, I think Mac Jones gets a slight edge. So Mac Jones will be moving on. All right, we've got Matt Ryan and Mitchell Trubisky next up here. This one really seems like it's another clear-cut case. Now, I understand Matt Ryan in his final years in Atlanta wasn't exactly the best, but this guy did win an MVP in his career. He did go to a Super Bowl, and a good chunk of people believe he's going to the Hall of Fame. You know, some people don't believe that, but others do. So it's kind of a up and down case with Matt Ryan. But again, he was MVP of this league. He took his team to a Super Bowl. The man is accomplished. Now, is he that same guy that he was during his MVP season? No. Does he still have talent? Does he still seem like he has an arm? Yeah. Does he have to be that guy from 2016 to beat out Mitchell Trubisky? No. Trubisky hasn't really showcased much. He had 1 year. 1 year in which he helped that team get to, we helped that Bears team legitimately get to the playoffs. I know his final year in Chicago, they did make the playoffs, but they made the playoffs because other teams were just playing like trash. They legitimately made the playoffs due to other people's incompetence. They didn't want to be there. In fact, I believe it was the Cardinals' fault that the Bears actually ended up in the playoffs. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, what is it, 2018? That 2018 year where Mitchell Trubisky actually looked like he was taking another step, and they got to the playoffs and lost to the Eagles. That was the only good year you got out of Trubisky. Other than that, he hasn't really showcased much. A lot of people really don't they just don't believe in him. Even though he showcased some talents, they don't believe in him. Nagy was basically through with him by the end of his time in Chicago. And who knows, Pittsburgh could turn him into something special. But right now, based on what we've seen of Trubisky, it's tough to call here. But yeah, I think you would still have to take Matt Ryan right now. Unless Trubisky shows us something, you got to take Matt Ryan. Because, you know, Matt Ryan he's not the guy he was in 2016, but, you know, he's still better than Trubisky. Just based off of what he is right now and what Trubisky's right now, I would still take Matt Ryan over Mitchell Trubisky. So, yeah, point goes to Matt Ryan. I mean, does this really need to be discussed? Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, this was an unfair discussion. Like, I really feel bad Lawrence got picked to go up against Patrick Mahomes. This is not fair. He should have ended up with one of the other young quarterbacks. It would have been nice if he would have ended up with Tua or, you know, a situation where it was Zach Wilson or Mac Jones, but, you know, he ended up here. Yeah, it's unfair to him. You know, he didn't get to showcase much when he was with Jacksonville, and he's going up against one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. So there's not much to discuss here. Patrick Mahomes, MVP, Super Bowl champion. He's done it all. He's been an All-Pro. He's been a multiple-time Pro Bowler. We already know what Patrick Mahomes is about. This is not a tough discussion. The winner is Patrick Mahomes. Interesting. Davis Mills and Tua Tagovailoa. This is very interesting. A lot of people don't believe in Tua at all. In fact, a lot of people don't think Tua is going to make it work with the weapons they've given him on this offense. But yeah, Tua hasn't showcased much. Davis Mills got his first opportunity last year. This is a tough one. This is actually a tough one because I don't want to show any biasness. I'm a Tua guy. I've been a Tua guy since he was in college, so it's tough for me to really not show any biases there. Yeah, Tua hasn't shown you much. He's had flashes here, but he hasn't shown you much. Davis Mills also hasn't shown you a lot. He's just getting his first opportunity as well, but he did make some plays. Both of these guys have made some plays. Both of these guys are probably going to get an opportunity to showcase what they can do this upcoming season. So, yeah, this is a bit difficult for me to pick. I think it's a coin flip with this. I'm being very honest. If we saw more from Tua, I could easily give a reason as to why I can pick him. But yeah, like he hasn't showcased much, and this is a big year. I already made a video earlier on in the year saying that all the pressure's on Tua because they're giving him all these weapons, and that defense has been retooled, and they got weapons on offense now. So it's just like, yeah, Tua doesn't have an excuse. He's got to show up. It's very tough, but I think if I had to go with somebody here, because part of the element isn't who's the better quarterback, it also has to come down to who would I rather take in this situation. I'm gonna take Tua. I feel like there's more upside to Tua than Davis Mills. We'll see how that, ages this season, but I'm gonna take Tua. So point goes to Tua. He's gonna win this matchup. All right, next up we have Ryan Tannehill taking on Joe Burrow. It's a very interesting matchup considering the fact that these two went head-to-head in the division round last year. It feels like there should be more of a discussion because Tannehill's had some really great seasons with the Titans, and he's taken them to great heights. The highest he's taken them is the AFC Championship game. But Joe Burrow beat out Ryan Tannehill in a playoff game and then went into Kansas City, beat Mahomes, and got to the Super Bowl. And arguably, if you would have had an offensive line in the Super Bowl, honestly, if somebody could have just made one play during the crucial moment, if he would have got extra protection on that last play, he would have seen Jamar Chase wide open, and Joe Burrow can be sitting here as a Super Bowl champion. So it's very difficult. Joe Burrow has the highest of highs when it comes to talent and ability. This guy has an opportunity to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, no doubt in my mind. He's got the tools, he's got the ability, he's got the level of calmness you want from a quarterback. Yeah, Ryan Tannehill, we saw what he was in that playoff game against the Bengals. He had a chance to win it. Everything looked like it was going to go in the Titans' favor, and they lost that game specifically because of Ryan Tannehill. So yeah, Joe Burrow, I don't see how I can't pick him right now. I'm just saying Joe Burrow is really flying high. Maybe a lot of people are overrating him heading into this season, but he's a young quarterback that got to the Super Bowl. Last time we saw a young quarterback get to the Super Bowl was Mahomes, and Mahomes has still been great. So I just don't see how I don't take Joe Burrow in this situation. Ryan Tannehill right now, Titans aren't even sure if this is the guy they want to go with moving forward. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Joe Burrow on this one. He obviously takes this. So Joe Burrow for the win. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I don't know what I'm going to do here at all. This is easily the most difficult matchup for me to have right now. Russell Wilson against Lamar Jackson. This is really tough. Because as you can see, I'm a Ravens fan. I'm wearing Lamar's jersey. He's on a freaking poster behind me. Like, if I pick Lamar in this situation, everybody's going to say I'm biased. But if I don't pick Lamar, Ravens flock is going to kill me for this. I'm in a tough situation here. Well, I always try to be honest and keep it real. That's what this channel is about. So I'm going to keep it real about this situation. In terms of career, Russell Wilson has a Super Bowl championship. Lamar has an MVP. So one has something the other has yet to clinch. Both of them have been All-Pro players. Both of them have been to multiple, both have been selected to multiple Pro Bowls. This is a tough one. If we're going off of career-wise, I think Russell Wilson's got to take the advantage there because he's been to 2 Super Bowls. And if he doesn't make a stupid pass, he'd be a 2-time Super Bowl champion right now. And at that point, you would have really no argument. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson, he's won an MVP. He's led this league in touchdown passes. He's been one of the best young players in this game. But in terms of postseason success, he only has 1 playoff win. Now, granted, Russell Wilson's had more opportunities. Obviously, he's played for more years than Lamar. Oh, God. I mean, in terms of individual talent, I can sit back and say Lamar Jackson's just more talented than Russell Wilson as a player because of what Lamar Jackson's able to do with both his arm and his leg. His legs are so dangerous that, you know, that dual threat ability. And again, Russell Wilson's a mobile quarterback, so he's also a dual threat as well. But what Lamar is able to do with his legs and how he's able to just break tackles and escape from pressure and just do what he does is fantastic. You know, especially in the run game, how he's had an impact on the Ravens offense. It's very special. So as a player, you can make an argument that Lamar is more talented and more skilled, so he is the better player. But on the other hand, in terms of who's the better passer, Russell Wilson's the better passer. He's a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Russell Wilson's one of the best passers in this game. He's consistently been in the top 10 for like the last 7+ years. Like what, last 5 to 7 years he's been in, maybe even more than that. But the last 5 to 7 years he's been a top 10. In some of those cases, been a top 5 quarterback. If you're basing it off of right now, neither one of these guys had a good season last year. Lamar Jackson was in the MVP conversation carrying a broken down team until he had that horrible month, which started off with the Dolphins. He had that horrible month of football, which was the worst month of football he's ever played in his career, and then he got injured. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson, he was also back in the MVP talks early on, but then he suffered an injury. He came back, and he was not the same. He was playing some of the worst football we've seen that man play in years. So both of these guys dealt with injuries, played some of their worst football of their career, and neither one of these teams made the playoffs. So if it's based off of recent production, both of them aren't looking so good. If it's based off of overall career, Russell Wilson takes the cake. If it's based off of individual talents and skill sets, I think Lamar Jackson gets the edge. At the end of the day, I got to pick somebody. I don't know who to pick. I legitimately don't know who to pick. Oh my God. Oh my God. I gotta make a choice. Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna get killed no matter which one I pick, but I know what Russell Wilson's capable of, and he's consistently been on my top 5 quarterback list. So I know what I'm getting with Russell Wilson. I don't fully know what I'm getting with Lamar Jackson because he's so unpredictable with his ability. But that's the fun part about Lamar. You never know what he's going to do on the football field. So, and then again, some people will look at that as a bad thing, but I look at it as a good thing because it makes it tougher for defenses to be able to predict what he's going to do. You just don't know. Lamar Jackson just has a skill set that's so unique, and I like players that are unique. I think this is a tough one. I legitimately think this is a tough one, but I'm going to take the young gun. I may be seen as biased, obviously, because I'm a Ravens fan, but if I'm going to pick one right now, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson. I just, the skill set he brings, it's a tough one because Russell Wilson's probably the right pick. I'm going to be very honest. Russell Wilson's probably the right pick because he's just a model of consistency. And you know he's not going to get hurt. The first time he got hurt was last season, and it was a thumb. This guy's the model of consistency. He's always going to be there. There's no issues with him. Neither with Lamar, so that's never been an issue with him. He's always been relatively healthy. But Russell Wilson's always been at the top of the top. But Lamar has such a unique skill set that I believe allows him to be at the top. And he does something that nobody else in this league can do. And I like that. I like that there's a player. That's one of the things that just that kind of draws me to a player like a Patrick Mahomes, a player like a Josh Allen. These guys just do things that no one else can really do. They have unique skill sets to them that no one else can do. This is a long discussion that's gone on for like 6 minutes because I just couldn't make a choice. I'm going to take the young gun here. I'm going to take Lamar Jackson. Russell Wilson's probably the right pick, but Lamar's such a unique skill. He's just such a unique talent that I feel like his ceiling legitimately is something that we can't predict. Because so many people have sat back and said if his passing continues to improve, he will be by far the best player in the game. And I truly believe that. Because he's one of the best. Legitimately, what he does with his legs, we've never seen that before. To this extent. The only person that comes close, or the only person that's matched that in the history of this game, is Michael Vick. So for somebody to do what he's been doing, while also being effective in the passing game, if he continues to improve in that the sky's the limit for that guy. So I just got to stick with Lamar Jackson. I know what Russell Wilson brings to the table, and he's probably the right choice, but me, man, I got to keep it real, man. I'm going to take Lamar. I'm going to take Lamar because that unique skill set that he has is something far different, and it's literally tormented defenses. That's what's made him one of the best players in the game. So I'm going to stick with that. Though Russell Wilson's probably the better choice, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson because of that unique skill set and because I feel his ceiling is higher than Russell Wilson if that passing ever gets close to that level that Russell Wilson displays. Because what Lamar does with his legs is far more, it's just something we haven't seen since Michael Vick. It's something crazy. I'm going to get some flack for it, and I'm going to be called a homer and all this other stuff because I'm wearing Ravens gear, but I'm going to pick Lamar here. Oh boy. Moving on. We go from one tough debate to another. Justin Herbert versus Josh Allen. So we got Herbert versus Allen here. Man, this tournament just got difficult as the first round just went through. All right, Justin Herbert. He is a very talented quarterback. Legitimately, his arm strength is up there with Josh Allen as well as Patrick Mahomes. His ability to throw the football is up there with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's basically anything Josh Allen can do throwing the football, Justin Herbert can match that. I believe that's the same case when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. So talent-wise, Herbert has everything in his arsenal. But Josh Allen can do that and still be dominant with his legs because he's able to just, the way he's able to take off and just truck people, he's something special, man. I feel like this is a conversation that it feels like on the surface, because of what they're both able to do, it should be tougher than this that is displayed. It should be tougher than it initially looks, but damn, like I really don't see how I don't pick Allen in this situation. And I love Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's one of my favorite young players to watch right now in the game. Like, if I'm not watching Ravens games, I want to tune into a Chargers game because I want to see what Herbert's going to do. I love the guy's ability, man. You know, he was one of the guys I said was going to take another step last year, and he did. And I expect him to take an even better step this year and get his team to the playoffs, and I believe he will. So Justin Herbert is somebody I really enjoy watching, and he's a talented guy. I believe his ability to throw the football is up there with some of the best in the game today. But Josh Allen is that guy right now. He's a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. He's definitely in that conversation. And any throw Herbert can make, Allen has shown that he can make too. The arm strength is there. Both of them have amazing arm strength. But just Josh Allen's ability to, you know, to be able to take off and make plays with his legs. He's not as effective as Lamar, but honestly, if we're talking about dual threats, Lamar is number 1, but you have to look at Josh Allen in terms of his running ability and say he's number 2. Like, I don't see how you don't say Josh Allen's number 2 in that situation. Man. Yeah, I'm going to have to say Josh Allen. I love Justin Herbert, but Josh Allen, obviously, what he showcased in the playoffs last year was enough to convince me that this guy's a top 5. I needed him to consistently play well. Last year, he didn't have the amazing year he had in 2020, but he still had a really great year in 2021. Took his team to the playoffs, destroyed the New England Patriots, and honestly was supposed to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. He played a perfect game. If his defense could just hold on for 14 seconds, Josh Allen's going to the AFC Championship game, and I believe they would have beaten the Bengals. So I believe Josh Allen would have got a shot in the Super Bowl against the Rams, and with the way he was playing in the playoffs, I think Josh Allen, there's a chance Josh Allen's the Super Bowl champion today if his defense just holds on for 14 seconds in Kansas City. I truly believe that. So I'm going to take Josh Allen in this situation. I love Herbert, continue to improve, but Josh Allen right now is playing at a different level. He's matched up so well against Patrick Mahomes. I just don't see how I don't pick Josh Allen in this situation. Man. All right. That is tough, but yeah, I'm going to say Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to move on in this situation. All right, to end off the first round here, we have Deshaun Watson and Derek Carr. Ah, boy, this is a tough discussion. This is actually a tough discussion. Talent-wise, Deshaun Watson's just better than Derek Carr. I'm not even lying. The last time we saw Deshaun Watson, he looked like a top 3 quarterback. But the man has not played football in over a year. And during that span, Derek Carr was actually playing great football. Looked like one of the best. He looks like somewhat of a top 10 quarterback last year and got his team to the playoffs. He outplayed Justin Herbert to get his team to the playoffs. Derek Carr's ceiling is lower than Deshaun Watson. Talent-wise, it's Deshaun Watson. Talent-wise, it's just Deshaun Watson. I mean, I love Derek Carr. I love Derek Carr. Derek Carr in 2016, that was the best Derek Carr I've ever seen. He looked like he was going to win MVP. That team looked like they were going to go on a Super Bowl run. Then he suffers an injury. He's out for the rest of the season, and that's just that. But, you know, last year was the best he's played since 2016, and he showed a lot of growth. He showed a lot of ability, and, you know, he came up clutch when he needed to in plenty of situations down the stretch for the the Raiders. But, God, I want to pick Derek Carr so bad. I want to pick Derek Carr so bad because he played football last year. If we're basing it off of what Deshaun Watson did the last time he was playing football, from an individual standpoint, from a skill set standpoint, from a talent perspective, Deshaun Watson is better than Derek Carr. But Deshaun Watson was not winning with the Texans the last time we saw him. Derek Carr, he's not more talented than Deshaun Watson, but he was winning with this Raiders team and helped them get to the playoffs. I didn't think the Raiders were going to make the playoffs last year. Derek Carr proved me wrong, and I give him credit. They came up clutch plenty of times. Man, what do I do here? Man, I gotta be honest, man. Derek Carr has made some plays, man, and he looks like he's starting to, if he could consistently play the way he did last year and maybe take it up to another step or at least a half step, you can honestly say he's a legitimate top 10 quarterback, and I don't think there'd be a discussion where anybody would be like, nah. Like, he would legitimately have a role or a stamp in the top 10 perspective. Derek Carr might actually be one of the most, if not the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL today. And I just, man, oh God. It's a good thing I didn't go with stats here. I legitimately thought about going with stats when I came to this, but that would make it far too complicated, and I don't look at stats to get my overall determining factor on a player, because stats can be misleading. You have to see their talent, their skill set, their ability, all these other factors. You gotta look at the eye test, because I was watching all their highlights and all their games. Well, not every single one, but a good chunk of it before I made this list of all these guys. So, man, just from a talent perspective, man, because of Deshaun Watson's ability to throw the football, his skill set as a dual threat quarterback, I gotta pick. I think I gotta take Deshaun Watson. He's far too talented. He's far too talented for me not to pick Deshaun Watson. You know, a lot of people believe he's arguably a top 3 quarterback when he plays, so it's hard for me not to pick him. Deshaun Watson is going to get the win here. Derek Carr will continue to remain as the most underrated quarterback in the NFL, or at least one of the most. But yeah, I'm going to take Deshaun Watson in this situation. I have to. He's far too talented. So Deshaun Watson advances to the next round. All right, so here are the results of the first round. Mac Jones gets the best of Zach Wilson. Matt Ryan advances over Mitchell Trubisky. Patrick Mahomes far outclasses Trevor Lawrence. Tua gets the nod over Davis Mills. Joe Burrow gets the edge over Ryan Tannehill in a controversial call. Lamar Jackson takes the cake over Russell Wilson. Josh Allen defeats Justin Herbert. And last but not least, Deshaun Watson gets the best of Derek Carr. So in the second round, we have Mac Jones versus Matt Ryan, Patrick Mahomes versus Tua, Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen against Deshaun Watson. The second round is going to be much more interesting, and I have no idea how I'm going to make these picks because, good Lord, it's getting tougher and tougher by the second. All right, second round action. We've got Mac Jones taking on Matt Ryan. God, boy, come on. Really? Let's be honest. It's a no-brainer. I'm picking Matt Ryan right now. I'm picking Matt Ryan. I think what's left of Matt Ryan is still going to be better than what I'm getting from Mac Jones. Mac Jones has to take that next step, and I'll see. I'm speaking on as to what Mac Jones has been so far, but if he comes back a year or two and takes it to another level, hey, we could always revive this list. But Matt Ryan right now, I would rather have him than Mac Jones. I'm being very honest. I would rather have him than Mac Jones. Mac Jones, his ceiling has been very low so far. He hasn't shown me enough to be able to put my faith and confidence in him doing something. At least with Matt Ryan, I might make, if you give me enough weapons, I might make the playoffs with Matt Ryan and I might win a playoff game. He's still got enough talent to do that. And I already know the highs and lows of Matt Ryan, but I'll just take my risk. Because Mac Jones isn't going to really provide me with enough. Just not at this point. I think he has to continue to develop, but he's just not going to be here. He's not going to match up with some of these other guys in the AFC right now. I think he's, yeah, I'll put him. I couldn't pick Mac. I can't. I really want to, but no. I'm going to take Matt Ryan. I'm trying to, like, rationalize it in my head because I really don't want to pick Matt Ryan. But I'm going to have to. Like, I'm thinking maybe Mac Jones could do this or do that, but he hasn't shown it to me yet. So, yeah, Matt Ryan is going to move on to, of course, semifinals. We'll see how that goes for Matt Ryan, though. Are we serious right now? This man, Patrick Mahomes, must have some of the best luck in the world. The football gods love him. This was a random pick tournament here. I had this bucket that were filled with these names. We picked at random to make this tournament. And I'm just coming to this realization as the tournament has progressed that Patrick Mahomes has literally been the luckiest quarterback in this entire tournament. Honestly, none of the people that he's faced off with, the first round, he was facing off against somebody that wasn't on his level. This second round, he's facing off against somebody that's not on his level. And guess what? In the semifinals, he's going to be facing off against somebody that's not on his level. Patrick Mahomes versus Tua. What do we have to say about that? Let's stop it. Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Tua has yet to prove himself. Like, come on, bro. Patrick Mahomes is just breezing through this tournament, and it was random. How does that happen? Man, I really wish he would have started off with Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. That would have been an actual discussion. What am I supposed to make of this? Mahomes wins again. Tua, bye. Mahomes to the semifinals. Why me? Why me? Why did this have to happen? Why couldn't Lamar have been picked earlier on so I could have skipped all these discussions? Legitimately, this has been terrible for me. So, in the first round, we had a controversial call, which I'm calling it that because people, non-Ravens fans or non-Lamar Jackson fans are definitely going to call me out on that and say, you picked Lamar over Russell Wilson. I'm already prepared for that. Here comes another one, huh? Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson. These two are in the same division. This is an AFC North battle. A lot of people believe these two teams and these two quarterbacks will be going at it to see who's going to win the division. This is very difficult. It's literally the same discussion I had with Russell Wilson. The only difference is Joe Burrow didn't get the job done. But, you know, Lamar Jackson has an MVP. He was an All-Pro. He's led the league in touchdown passes. All three of these things are something Lamar Jackson has done. Joe Burrow has never done either one of those three. He's never been an MVP, never led the league in touchdown passes, never been an all-pro player. On the flip side, what does Joe Burrow have that Lamar Jackson doesn't? A Super Bowl appearance. Joe Burrow won multiple playoff games. Joe Burrow got to the AFC Championship game. Joe Burrow got the best of Patrick Mahomes in his building, beat him in his building, and went on to the Super Bowl. And again, I will stand by this. If the Cincinnati Bengals had an offensive line or somebody that could have blocked for that final play, we could be sitting here and talking about Joe Burrow being a Super Bowl champion. Like, it's that serious. Jamar Chase was open. If somebody could have blocked Darnold, yeah, they could have blocked Aaron Donald for, like, I don't even want to say 2 seconds because that's not possible. If you could have blocked him for half a second longer, just for Burrow to get that look to see Jamar Chase open, he would have just floated it. Like, Aaron would have been there, but he would have just floated it, and that would have been a touchdown. But yeah, unfortunately, that didn't happen for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's why they didn't win the championship. But yeah, Burrow has a Super Bowl appearance on his resume. Lamar has not come close to a Super Bowl, so it becomes tough. What do I say there? Joe Burrow is also seen as one of the best quarterbacks in the league because of that Super Bowl run. Whether or not you believe it's true, take it how you will, but because of that run, he's seen as one of the best. And in fact, Lamar has dropped down since his MVP season because, you know, he hasn't done much. Again, last year, we know about the injuries. We know he was in the MVP conversation until eventually he got hurt and stuff. We get it. We get it. But still, man, it's tough. I don't know what to do here, man. In terms of talent, from a talent and skill set perspective, Lamar is the better player. Because Lamar can do things Joe Burrow just cannot. I'm sorry. Joe Burrow's the most effective in what he does, but Lamar Jackson as a player and from a skill set perspective, Lamar Jackson's just more talented. I'm sorry. We know that. Lamar Jackson's the most talented player, but, you know, talent doesn't always equate to greatness, you know, especially if it's not utilized in the right places. You know, you can be talented in what you do in a certain aspect, but if it doesn't equate to results on the field, no one's going to care. You know, the fact that Lamar only has one playoff win, meanwhile Joe Burrow is at least made the Super Bowl, that kind of definitely makes this discussion even tougher. Once again, it's a situation where if I pick Lamar Jackson, I'm seen as a Lamar Jackson homer. I'm seen as a biased Ravens fan. But if I pick Joe Burrow, I'll be completely disrespected and killed by Ravens flock for even mentioning Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson in the same sentence. And especially the Lamar Jackson fanboys. I say Joe Burrow is just as great as Lamar Jackson, I'm getting killed for it. Whether or not I believe that, that's a different conversation. I'm not talking about that right here. But if I was to say that, I'd get killed by them. God. Because I'm going to go with my same reasons. I'm going to go with my same reasoning that I brought up against the first round matchup between Lamar and Russell Wilson. Lamar's skill set is just better. His skill set and talent is just better than what Joe Burrow can bring to the table. Now, as a passer, Joe Burrow is probably going to get the edge, especially because of what he displayed. But Lamar continues to improve more and more as a passer. And if his arm ever gets to where his leg is, it's a different conversation. If he's throwing the ball, if he becomes nearly or as dangerous throwing the ball as he is as a runner, that's game over for everybody, and we all know it. So yeah, man. If I had to choose between one of these two, who would I rather have on my team? Damn, I gotta go with Lamar. I'm sorry. It's another controversial call. Bengals fans, you could call me a Lamar homer, a biased Ravens fan, whatever you got to do. That doesn't take away from what Joe Burrow does. Joe Burrow's still a great quarterback, but, man, just from a talent perspective, what this man Lamar Jackson can bring to the table, not to mention what he's been able to accomplish, the only thing that's missing from his resume is a Super Bowl championship. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Lamar. I'm going to stick with Lamar in this situation, and Lamar is going to move on to the semifinals. I'm sorry, Joe Burrow fans. You can chew me out in the comment section. It is what it is, but I got to take Lamar in this situation. I got to take Lamar. So Lamar heads off to the semifinals. All right, last but not least, we have Josh Allen taking on Deshaun Watson. This is a much closer comparison than you would think. I mean, both of them are dual threat quarterbacks. In terms of what they can do passing the ball, it's up there with some of the best in the league. Their skill sets, their talents is up there with some of the best in the league. They're two of the most effective dual threat quarterbacks in the league. Last time we saw Deshaun Watson, he looked like a top 5 quarterback. Last time we saw Josh Allen, he looked like a top 5 quarterback. Both of them are arguably still within the top 5 in some people's cases. And I believe a lot of people say Deshaun Watson will be a top 5 quarterback if he does get to play this year. So, yeah, this is actually very difficult to pick. But, honestly, I feel like it should be a tougher discussion, but I'm going with Josh Allen because Deshaun Watson has not played football in a year. I have no idea how he's going to look. When you're playing at that high of a level and you just don't play football for a year, I can't put my faith in say I would rather have you. Yeah, from a talent perspective, it's dead even. So I think you can go with either or. You could take Deshaun Watson. You could take Josh Allen. You're not going to lose sleep. If you woke up and said, I took Deshaun Watson over Josh Allen, you're not going to lose much sleep over it from a talent perspective. Same thing if you said, I take Josh Allen over Deshaun Watson. You're not going to lose sleep over it from a talent perspective. From a talent perspective, from a skill perspective, from what both of these guys are able to do with both their arms and their legs, you're not going to lose sleep over it if you choose one over the other. I'm just going to choose Josh Allen because of what he was able to accomplish last year. And I don't know what I'm going to get from Deshaun Watson heading into the season. Not to mention, I feel like Josh Allen's been at least a little bit more effective. He's been a little bit more effective. Now, granted, yeah, Deshaun Watson did beat Josh Allen head-to-head in the playoff game, so I guess that does give him some bonus points. But Josh Allen, over the last 2 years, has progressed so much that, honestly, when it comes to AFC quarterbacks, I honestly just think that Mahomes is the only other person that I really believe can match up with him on an even basis right now. Like, that may be the only quarterback I can sit back and say, yeah, that guy's just better than Allen. But I think it may be dead even. Like, with the way Mahomes and Allen played in that divisional round, I honestly believe you can sit back and say these two quarterbacks are dead even. You can make an argument for that right now. So, yeah, I'm going to take Josh Allen over Deshaun Watson. I don't think a lot of people are going to think that's a problem because Josh Allen has just been an absolute monster. And the way he played in the postseason last year, man, it shows how great of a quarterback he's become. So, yeah, Josh Allen heads off to the semifinals. All right, here are the results of our round 2 matchup. Matt Ryan gets the best of Mac Jones. Patrick Mahomes far outclasses Tua, so once again, he advances. It's been a very smooth ride for Patrick Mahomes. He has yet to have a challenge in this tournament. In a controversial call, Lamar Jackson gets the nod over Joe Burrow. Bengal fans are going to kill me for that, but it is what it is. And last but not least, Josh Allen gets the best of Deshaun Watson. Josh Allen has had to take on 2 very tough combatants. And in both those cases, he's gotten the best. Will he keep up that momentum? We'll see. Here comes the semifinals. This is not fair. How the hell did the football gods bless this man like this? This is crazy. Patrick Mahomes versus Matt Ryan. What discussion can I make of that? Well, at least they're both MVPs. At least they both know how it feels to make the Super Bowl and lose. Yeah, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes won his Super Bowl when he got there the first time, and he's been there the second time. Yeah, he lost. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, once again, is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. Matt Ryan at some point was in the conversation in 2016, but since then, he hasn't been the same. There's no debate. There's no conversation. Mahomes is just the better quarterback. What are we doing here? Why couldn't Mahomes go up against Herbert? Why couldn't Mahomes go up against Burrow? Why couldn't he have gone up against somebody like Lamar, Josh Allen in the earlier rounds? Why the hell didn't he get to go up against Russell Wilson or Derek Carr? How the hell did this happen? Again, where's the bucket? This was random. We just randomly picked live on camera. And somehow Mahomes gets some... This is exactly what people say about Mahomes' career. He's just one of the luckiest mans because he ended up going to a different franchise that had all the talent and was set to really make a run. They just needed a quarterback. But I'm not going to get into that, man. Mahomes is Mahomes. One way or another, we expected him to get to the finals. I don't care who was in front of him. Mahomes was going to get to the finals. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. It didn't matter if he would have taken on Herbert. It didn't matter if he would have taken on Burrow. It didn't matter if he would have taken on Watson. He was going to get the nod. So let's be honest here. Mahomes advances to the finals. Everybody expected that. Nobody is surprised. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There is no way around this one, huh? I am completely screwed. No matter what is said here, I'm screwed. And I'm sorry to say this, Ravens flock. Y'all gonna kill me for this take, but I don't care. My job is to keep it real, and I'm gonna be dead honest about it, man. Lamar Jackson taking on Josh Allen for a chance to go to the finals against Patrick Mahomes in our quarterback tournament. Lamar Jackson has an MVP. Josh Allen doesn't. Lamar Jackson has led this league in touchdown passes. Josh Allen has not. That's just some of the differences. I mean, I'm just giving you what Lamar has over Josh Allen. And that's great. I love Lamar to death, guys. I'm serious, but I can't pick him here. I racked my brain. I took like 10 minutes Like, in between talking about Patrick Mahomes versus Matt Ryan and getting that take out the way, I took like 10 minutes to truly debate Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. And I feel like I will probably make a video in terms of comparing the two, statistic-wise, their career accomplishments, what they've been able to do. I feel like I will have an opportunity to do that at some point. I might make a video of it. We are in the offseason after all, so I had some interesting quarterback battles here that I probably will make videos of. So yeah, this was just a nice, cool tournament just to have fun with it. But yeah, I just can't. I spent 10 minutes trying to debate this and truly thinking about it, but I cannot pick Lamar Jackson right now. I can't. In my opinion, in the AFC, there are two quarterbacks that I really believe are better than Lamar Jackson right now. Number one is Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Number two is Josh Allen. Josh Allen has made so much improvement in his passing ability. It's night and day. Josh Allen is damn near standing toe-to-toe, face-to-face. He's right there with Mahomes. He's beaten Lamar Jackson head-to-head in the playoffs. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the game right now. And what he did in the postseason last year, I kid you not when I said this. When I saw, first of all, the Bills were a team I believe could get to the Super Bowl heading into last year. They were one of my Super Bowl favorites. I had the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and I believed, I think the Titans were in that conversation last year. So I was not surprised to see the Bills doing as well as they did. I picked them to win their division last year. I'm going to pick them to win the division this year when I make those videos. But yeah, I thought the Bills had a really good shot to make the Super Bowl last year. But once I saw Josh Allen demolish the New England Patriots in that defense, I thoroughly believed this was the year they were going to, that was the year they were going to make the Super Bowl. And honestly, they should have made the Super Bowl. But, you know, his defense couldn't hold Patrick Mahomes off for 14 seconds. Sorry, not 14, 13 seconds. Those 13 seconds defined their season. And Josh Allen had a perfect postseason. In terms of talent and skill set, anything Lamar can do, Josh Allen can pretty much do. From both a throwing perspective and a running perspective. From both utilizing their arms and their legs. They're both dual threat quarterbacks. They're both effective in the run and pass game. They're some of the most talented guys we've ever seen play this game. I mean, I can't see a reason as to why I could pick Lamar right now. Now, yes, the argument I've made about Lamar's ability to throw the football, and if he ends up continuing to improve the way he's shown, then yes. But even with that, I still just believe anything he could, even if he gets to the highest of the heights, I still just believe he'll just be potentially better than Josh Allen or just as great as Josh Allen. That's just my opinion. You know, with Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson, they're arguably, in terms of passing ability, they're better than Lamar Jackson. But they're not better than him from a talent and skill set perspective, because what Lamar is able to do on the football field is just more effective as a whole, just in terms of skill set, compared to what Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson can bring to the table. Lamar brings more things to the table than those guys. So from a player perspective, yeah, Lamar Jackson would be seen as a better player. But then you put Josh Allen in the mix, another guy that could do everything Lamar Jackson can do, and match him with that. And it's hard for me to sit back and say I have to pick Lamar in this situation because I just don't know, guys. From a throwing perspective, Josh Allen is just a better thrower of football than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson will need to continue his passing, but Josh Allen has elevated his passing game to a whole nother level, and we've seen it. So from a passing perspective, from a consistency perspective, Josh Allen's more consistent than Lamar Jackson. From a running perspective, Lamar still has the edge there, but Josh Allen can do nearly all the things Lamar can do with his legs. Now, Lamar's still unique with his ability to make plays with his legs, but Josh Allen he's in that area. He's not matching Lamar, and he's not better than Lamar in that aspect, but he's in that area. And that's just enough for me to sit back and say, yeah, I got to put him over it. It's so tough, but I've been saying this for a while. There are two quarterbacks where I sit back and say, if you were to debate me about it, you'd have me. I mean, I would obviously defend my quarterback, but if I had another person on the channel and they said Josh Allen was better than Lamar Jackson and we had a debate, he's winning the debate. He's winning the debate. I honestly believe there are two quarterbacks in the AFC that are better than Lamar Jackson right now. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I've said this for a while. So, Lamar, it pains me to say, I don't know, maybe I should take off the, yeah. I got to. I'm sorry. Ravens flock gonna be pissed at me. I'm gonna just switch over to this red hat. I'm sorry, but yeah, Lamar Jackson's going down here in the semifinals. I am taking Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen will head off to the finals. All right, here are our results for the semifinals. Patrick Mahomes, again, far outclasses Matt Ryan, so he heads to the finals. And in a tough decision, Lamar Jackson goes down, and Josh Allen advances to the finals to take on Patrick Mahomes. Ravens flock, I'm so sorry, but I cannot be biased. I cannot. Now, that doesn't mean Lamar Jackson cannot prove himself. Obviously, this year he can. If he goes out, wins another MVP, and takes us to the Super Bowl, by all means, I will more than enough say he's better than Josh Allen, and I'll be sitting back and saying maybe he's just as good, if not better than Mahomes. I will make that argument if Lamar Jackson does what we believe he could do this year, but man, it's a tough one. I don't even know. I don't know if I want to say that. Screw it, I'll say it. I may make a video where I actually go in depth into the Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen debate and see who deserves to be crowned the better quarterback. Not sure if I'm going to do it anytime soon, but that may be a video for the future. Anyway, here's the results. Mahomes and Allen's in the finals to see who deserves to be crowned best quarterback in the AFC. Should be an interesting one. Cannot wait to see how this goes down. All right, here we are, the finals. We are down to two combatants, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. These two are going to go at it to determine who is the best quarterback in the AFC. So, let's discuss it. Well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has been the best quarterback, or at least been the most successful quarterback in the AFC since he became a starter in 2018. That 2018 year, he went on to throw for over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, won MVP, got all the way to the AFC title game, in which he lost to Brady and the Patriots. The following year, 2019, he didn't have a historical year, but he still had a really good year. Took his team to the playoffs that year, in which they came back from 3 double-digit deficits to go on to win the Super Bowl. So he wins an MVP in 2018. 2019, he wins the Super Bowl championship. 2020 comes back, puts up a really good year, takes his team to the playoffs once again. In the playoffs, he continues to do what he has to do, gets to the AFC title game, in which he beats Josh Allen head-to-head in that title game to get to the Super Bowl, in which he would ultimately lose to Brady and the Buccaneers. Now, going into last season, he has another great season. They go into the playoffs. He matches up with Josh Allen head-to-head in the divisional round. He beats him once again, gets to the AFC title game where he ultimately loses to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and that's how his season comes to an end. So he's pretty much been successful every year of his career. He's been effective. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and yeah, it's going to be tough to beat his resume. On the flip side, we have Josh Allen. Josh Allen didn't come in and immediately impress people. His rookie year in 2018, he didn't play well. He had some moments and some flashes, but people weren't sure he was going to put it together. 2019, he comes back a little bit more improved, helps his team get to the playoffs, but in the playoffs, he plays very poorly, does not look good at all, and embarrasses himself in that playoff game against Deshaun Watson, and they ultimately go home in the first round. Following year, 2020, Josh Allen puts up a historical season, one of the best seasons we've seen from a young quarterback. Not even a young quarterback, but just one of the best seasons we've seen from a quarterback in total. He has 51 total touchdowns, looks like a top 5 quarterback at that point. He gets to the divisional round, in which he beats Lamar Jackson head-to-head in Buffalo and gets the best of him here, which is funny because he beat Lamar in this tournament in order to get to the finals here to match up with Mahomes. So he gets to the AFC title game against Patrick Mahomes, and ultimately he doesn't have a great game. Mahomes outplays him, and he ultimately loses that matchup. Flash forward to last season. Once again, Josh Allen has a really good year, wins the division once again, takes his team to the playoffs. They have a wild card round against the Patriots in which he absolutely decimates them, plays a perfect quarterback game, and then goes to the division round in Kansas City where he plays one of the best games I've ever seen by a quarterback. Just considering the situation, considering who he was going up against, that was one of the best performances I've seen by a quarterback. He played another perfect game, did not turn the ball over, looked to be at the top of the top of the top. But unfortunately, once again, he loses to Patrick Mahomes, and that's where his season ends. Ultimately, in terms of skill set and ability, both these two are damn near close, man. In terms of throwing ability, you could probably give a slight edge if you want to Mahomes because he just makes throws that only Aaron Rodgers can make. But one can argue Josh Allen can make those throws. And if you want to give a rebuttal, some of the plays that Josh Allen is able to make with his legs, Mahomes can't. So there is some advantages here and there. I think they're very close in terms of talent and skill set. In terms of individual, not team, but individual accomplishments, I still think Mahomes has the edge there because he still has the MVP and stuff. But yeah, it's very close between these two. Josh Allen has done a great job over the last 2 years to close the gap between him and Mahomes, and these two are legit rivals now. They've matched up in the postseason twice, and both of those games, well, the first one wasn't exactly great, but the second one was one of the greatest playoff games we've ever seen. So hopefully these two meet up in the postseason this year and we get another Coke Classic. But yeah, we got to come to a decision here. Does Patrick Mahomes still remain to be the best quarterback in the AFC? Or do we crown a new champion here? I think for now, we got to give it to Mahomes. I think Mahomes is going to get the edge here, specifically because Josh Allen has not bested him yet. There's been two people that bested him when they were in the AFC. Brady, he's bested Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. He came out here and bested Mahomes in the regular season and then beat him again in the AFC title game. So, I mean, honestly, Joe Burrow, if you're going by that, Joe Burrow should be at the top, but we know that's not how that works, you know. We've seen quarterbacks that are less talented beat a more talented quarterback's team because it is a team game at the end of the day. So, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, Josh Allen, he has to beat Mahomes in the playoff game. But more than that, I still think if Josh Allen was a Super Bowl champion today, we could have a legit discussion and say they're dead even. And honestly, I still think even without the championship, you can make an argument that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are dead even as quarterbacks. Boy, it's a tough discussion here. It's really tough, especially because of how well Josh Allen has played and how he was able to close the gap between these two. But yeah, I think Mahomes is still going to reign supreme. You don't win the Super Bowl every year, and there are going to be times where you get bested by other quarterbacks or other teams. That happened for Mahomes last year, but he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Every year his team is competing. They've been to, what, four straight AFC championship games? I mean, sometimes you make the Super Bowl, sometimes you don't. It happens. You go to 4 straight title games, you're clearly in complete, you know, dominance of that conference. I still think Mahomes owns this conference until somebody's willing to, you know, someone comes out here and consistently beats him. Joe Burrow has put his name in that list because he's been the only other quarterback to do it besides Brady. So Joe Burrow should be on the horizon. Then again, I mean, I picked Lamar over him, so I guess, I mean, you know, this was a fun list. You know, if I was to sit back and truly debate Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow, I'm sure we'll come to a conclusion. I might still take Lamar there, but it is what it is. But yeah, at least somebody has shown their fangs to Mahomes, and that name is Joe Burrow. We'll see how Burrow does in, what would it be, year 3 for him? We'll see what happens. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes wins this tournament here. He bests Josh Allen, and he's crowned the champion. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. The winner of the AFC quarterback tournament is Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes still reigns supreme right now in this conference. He's gotten some competition in the names of Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, in some cases Justin Herbert, in some cases Lamar Jackson. But despite that, Mahomes still reigns supreme. And honestly, throughout this tournament, I already pointed out, Mahomes didn't really have much competition. Nobody was on his level until the finals, so he kind of cruised to the top. But even if he was on the flip side and in Josh Allen's conference, I still think it's a situation where he's besting all these quarterbacks. If you're telling me I have to pick between Patrick Mahomes and Ryan Tannehill or Joe Burrow, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. If you're telling me I have to choose between Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, I'll take Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes wins that conversation. Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, he still wins that conversation. Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes wins. Patrick Mahomes or Derek Carr, Patrick Mahomes wins. Mahomes has just been the most accomplished. He's been the most successful. He's been the most effective. He still reigns supreme in this conference until somebody takes him out. I don't know what to tell you, man. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes wins this tournament. I think most people expected that to be the case. I don't think anyone was thinking it was going to be somebody else other than Patrick Mahomes. Other than people that don't like Patrick Mahomes and believes that he's not good. It's just that his team's good and they're elevating him or whatever sort of nonsense they come up with. But yeah, Mahomes wins this one. I don't think anyone really is surprised. And that puts an end to this whole competition here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was very fun to make. You know, going into tournament mode here, as an anime fan, I know all about these tournaments. I love them. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball, you know about the World Martial Arts Tournament. I just wanted to do something like that, but with quarterbacks. I mean, there was a tournament in One Piece as well, and you know, that one doesn't really go anywhere. That's a tournament in what, Dressrosa, but that one is a different conversation. But I love tournaments. You know, it's a competition based. You get to go bracket style and do player for player in terms of who you think could win. It's fun. So I just wanted to do something fun here with other quarterbacks. I really wouldn't take this whole tournament seriously. It's not like we're trying to really go deep into analyzing who's the better quarterback. If we were to do that, we'd probably go more into long-term discussion where we'll do one-on-ones. You know, you're not going to have a full-on discussion about who's the better quarterback in a tournament-based video unless you're willing to make that video like an hour long, because 16 quarterbacks to go through and it gets tougher as it goes on. This would have to be like a 1 hour plus video, and I wasn't going to do that to you. I could make a video like that. If you guys want me to make a video like that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You guys know the whole mix. But, you know, I could definitely make a video where we actually go in depth and try to analyze who's the better quarterback of each one of these. Though, next time we do this, it would be a different random, you know, format, because we're not going to pick the exact same format we used in this tournament. We will once again have to trust in the mighty bucket here, and we'll just pick randomly from there. But yeah, this was a fun thing to do. I should do more things like this. It's very interesting. I will be doing the same thing with the NFC quarterbacks, and it should be very interesting to do that with that situation, because, you know, the NFC in terms of their quarterback play, it's not nearly as strong as the AFC. So, you know, you're gonna get some interesting perspectives over there. With that being said, that is pretty much all I got for this video. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.